Okay, today I'm going to show you how to optimize an existing page or blog content and how to do it without duplicating or cannibalizing content, meaning that we don't target the same keywords that are on another page, or at least not the main keyword. And this is going to be a pretty technical piece. It's about healthcare and HCC coding, which is medical billing coding. And so we're going to have to understand the topic. There's a good chance that we're not going to see, I'm just assuming, but there's a good chance that we won't even see great keywords for this. And so we're really going to have to dig in to understand the intent of this and make sure that we can do the best we can to find keywords that exactly match the intent of the article. So here's the page update tracker. That's what I call it. You could call it whatever you want, your existing content plan. Keyword map. I build them all into one. So keyword map and the existing content plan. And so that's how I do it. So let's see if I can make this smaller. Just get rid of it. That's great. Okay. So from here, we click the page, we open it. It's right there. We set it up. So I always use this naming convention. So if the page exists, I always say page update. You can say page optimization, whatever. And when it's new content, I'll say new page right there. And then I put the URL. I always want the URL in there, and then I want the month and year. So 10/20/23. You can use whatever markings and whatever, what did I call this? Whatever naming convention that you'd like. In Google Sheets or Google Docs, we have a lot of options for using characters and whatnot. But because this has to be transferred into a Word doc, it's going to remove any characters. And so I have to have a simple naming convention for that. Even these slashes are going to be converted into underscores. So I might as well just do that now. Okay, this is a typical setup for the outline. If you want it for updating, you always do the URL. And if you want to update, if you find that you need to update the URL, that's a whole video in itself. But essentially, you might decide to update a URL if you see that there's no traffic going to the page and that the URL doesn't match the target keywords you want for it. Okay, I always do the old title here and the old description. I already have that in here, so I just copy and paste these. Another way to do that is to use SEO Quake. So you could open the URL, use SEO Quake, which attaches to SEMrush, which is why I use it, because I have SEMrush right now. And I just copy and paste the title and the meta descriptions there, but maybe that's a little off topic. Okay, so I establish what we have, and then I establish the new stuff. What I'm trying to do now, before we can optimize the content, is we have to figure out how we're going to optimize it. And the way to do that is to figure out the keywords that we need. So that's what I'm going to focus on here. Okay, this is about risk adjustment, healthcare secret. Nope, wrong one. Let's see, risk adjustment, managing the risks of risk adjustment coding. Okay. Keywords. First, I'm going to see if there's anything obvious in Search Console. I have it already pulled up here. Looks like it's done better clicks-wise, but impressions-wise, it's done worse. We'll take a look at the clicks that have grown or that have gained, the search terms that have gained more clicks and the search terms that have led to impressions loss. So click difference. Well, I did this by comparing. So I just, in this filter, you go to compare last 3 months versus previous 3 months. And then you can click on this and it will filter. And so I want to see the most of the clicks that led to that improved in clicks the most. Let's see, what's the total difference here? We have 12 clicks difference, but I'm pretty sure 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so Search Console doesn't even give us all the data. It only gives us 6 of those 12 clicks. It's very typical and makes Search Console not as useful as it used to be back in like 2014. 2015. Okay. Anything here? Risk adjustment coding. So I know that the article is about managing risk, and I'm pretty sure risk adjustment coding is already taken or something like it, but we can double check. What do we have in the keyword map so far? Control find. Oh, how do I go back? Dang it. I really don't like Microsoft. This would be so much easier in Google Docs. But you gotta do what you gotta do. So this is prospective risk adjustment coding. Oh, there we go. Risk adjustment coding and auditing. That's interesting. That makes me want to update this page. I'm pretty sure risk adjustment should be targeting that. Let's see what position we are. Average position. Last 3 months. We're 27. So risk adjustment coding. Let's see what page is ranking for it. I mean, it's our page, I guess. That was stupid. I forgot that I had it filtered there. Page 27. What happens if I remove this? Are there other pages that are ranking better? No, that's the best ranking page for it. I'll add it in here, but I don't want that to be our main keyword. Our main keyword should be risk adjustment coding should be probably one of these. But let's see. If we take this, what's the main keyword for that page? It's risk adjustment software. So the reason why I want this page, risk adjustment, to be focused on risk adjustment software is because that's a bottom of funnel or a buying intent keyword. And risk adjustment coding is more an informational one. So actually, maybe I will add it to that page. I'll do that. Especially since it's the page performing best for it. So risk adjustment coding. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. Remove these filters. We got to go back to the page and filter for that page. All right, so I looked at search terms or search queries that gained clicks over the last 3 months. I don't care. I'm not going to use what is a risk adjustment coder. That's irrelevant to this article. So is that. See, this is why I was hesitant on using risk adjustment coding, because it matches these types of things. It's informational. Risk adjustment coding example. These people reading our blog already know this stuff. Here's the coder. And this should be its own article, own risk adjustment 101 article. So let's look at the content. Let's say coder. Is coder in here? Medical coders, downstream coders. Nothing that says risk adjustment coder, but they're talking about medical coders in here. Same thing. So we're ranking number 2 for a keyword that isn't even on the page. Right there. It's tempting to add to it, but it just doesn't seem relevant. I really don't think any of these are relevant. So I would go through and look through these. I think what is relevant to this page, I mean, there we see errors. We're talking about managing risk. So I'm probably going to look for synonyms to errors. Let's use, let me change this filter to show all. Control find. Error, nothing. Mistake, nothing. Accurate. Nothing, okay. So I got to do some keyword research, or find some different, maybe there are some other synonyms for error that I can't think of. Mistake. Let's see, efficiency. Nothing. Okay, so we're going to search risk adjustment in here. I'm going to change these. Oh, it looks okay. So I had started just before. Accuracy, accurate, error, mistake. I mean, this is ridiculous to have that in there, but if it's not going to show up, it doesn't matter. So, all right, apply. I was a little lazy there by doing that. Okay, accuracy might be one. Accurate risk adjustment, but we have a page that already has accurate, don't we? So, I mean, we can see, we do this, accurate risk adjustment. That's for risk adjustment. So that, you can tell that this page, there's going to be overlapping intent. I mean, risk adjustment is about managing the risk of HCC coding or risk adjustment. I mean, that's what this product page is about. His blog is just taking a different point of view of the same thing and saying manage risk. And this is a product page which is going to talk about it in general and try to sell it. So what do we do here? Do we target these keywords even though they're the same? Maybe we could put them on the page. This is the problem with creating content first and not having an SEO strategy. You have to go through this whole thing. If you do your keyword research first and create pages based off of your grouped keywords, your keyword map, this doesn't happen. And so this is the perfect example of why we want to keyword research and do SEO before we start creating content. Otherwise, we will have to go back and clean up kind of a mess, and risk, ranking fluctuations and drops. I'm going to just actually take this out. And I'm going to put that in our page. And these are too many keywords to target anyway. This right here, this section, all targeted queries, I really should call those keyword options. It's like these show a similar search engine result page, meaning a Google page, to similar enough to this that they should be grouped together. That's called search intent. So this keyword has the same search intent as these, or all of this list of keywords has the same search intent as this. Google thinks that they're all related. So if you search one or the other or anything in this list, it's going to have a similar effect. A similar result. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. I don't just copy it like this because if I copy here, it'll copy all these metrics. I'm going to do it anyway, though. Copy. Show you what I mean. Ahrefs is better for copying keywords from the tool itself. It doesn't add all that data in there if you copy like that. Let's say, didn't I already look it back here? I think I did. Yeah, it's not even in here, so. Proper. Clear those, get all the results. Let's look at the grouped keywords here. This is a filter. So if I click on one of these, it'll show all keywords with the word calculator in it. Let's say performance. Because managing risk is talking about performance. Okay, so that might be a good one. I'm gonna copy those. Let's do. It sucks. You can't do risk because risk adjustment is literally in the name. I'm assuming that this is going to be a job informational search. It's not going to be, hey, I'm looking for a company who is considered a risk adjustment manager or Medicare risk adjustment manager. They're probably looking for either what that person does or a job. Yeah. someone to fulfill it. They're not looking for Pixio or company. You can always double check though. I'm going to check the intent of this. Okay, so this is commercial intent. Let's see what the result with the SERPs are of this keyword. Oh, I was right. Job search. Oh, this is wrong. All these job searches tell me that they're looking for, this is a job related keyword. So it's interesting that I guess now I know that SEMrush considers job searches commercial or purchase intent keywords. I'm going to say that this is the same. Risk adjustment manager. Indeed, yeah, exactly. So you can't trust your tools, folks. You gotta trust but verify, or just don't trust. That's probably good for now. Oops. People actually get asked quite a bit how I undo things quickly. It's just a hotkey. If you're on a Mac, it's Command Z. If you're on a PC, it should be Control Z, and it will undo any mistake you just did. It usually works for about 90% of things on the computer. Sometimes you'll find it doesn't work in some situations, but most of the time it works. Okay, now I have to figure out which one is most important. And to do that, I want to see what I'm most likely to get traffic for, but I also have to compare it to what the intent of the keywords are and if they match. I'm just going to, filter these out. I did some filtering initially, got this list. Now I got to filter this list out. That's a tough keyword. I think that we have a good domain authority though. So I'm not too worried about that. I can also see it's valuable, cost per click. So if someone is willing, advertisers are typically willing to pay $2.29 just for a click on this. I'm going to refresh this data. Can I bulk do that? Update metrics. Yes, I can. I'm going to pause so you don't have to see this. And we're back. Okay. So the tool went through, reevaluated all the data for this. Just looking at the numbers, I'm not even looking anything past this. So I don't even know what the keyword is yet. This looks ideal. It has the third most search volume, and it has the lowest KD of all the keywords. So that looks ideal. Risk adjustment performance management. Let's take a look at that keyword. See if it's. Oh, that was a mistake. I was going to open another page. Let's see if this matches enough. Performance management. So it thinks that matches up with an Investopedia page for risk-adjusted return. That's not correct. Risk-adjusted performance measures. I'm pretty sure that sounds like investing also. Let's check it out. See, this is why keyword research isn't so easy. I'm gonna pause and just look through this. Okay, this is what I was looking for: asset returns. That tells me that this is an investing article, so I was pretty sure about that anyway. But okay, so I think it's safe to probably get rid of that keyword because get rid of all of these then, because they're about the same likely. So this, I could be wrong here, so maybe I should double check. Measures, management, they sound very synonymous, but that doesn't mean that the search intent is the same. Yeah, measures, it's the same thing. So we see that even though they're synonymous and it has all the right keywords in it, the intent is not correct. So we got to get rid of that. I'm going to say that this is wrong also. So is this. And this. I think these 4 are good enough. And I'll just do my best to make them relevant. Might have to get clever with how we say things to make sure that we're staying true to the purpose of the article. I mean, this is pretty good. This is a pretty good title. I might say how to manage the risk. I'm going to change this to, no, not yet. You always want the keyword towards the front, the main keyword. And so I'm actually going to put that here, do a colon, risk adjustment coding. How to manage the risks. Or maybe I can combine some of these. Let's probably do accurate risk adjustment coding. Okay, so I mean, that tells us, if you're talking about accurate risk adjustment coding, what you're telling the reader is that anything after that has to do with that subject. So now they know that managing the risk means getting accurate data. I mean, they might know that already, but I think it's a little more clear because when you say managing the risks of risk adjustment coding, I'm not sure what that means. But if you put in the word accurate here, accurate risk adjustment coding, now I know that the risk is inaccuracy as opposed to something else. And let's try to, we know risk adjustment coding is HCC coding. So let's try to see if we can break into that keyword market, so to speak, as well. You want to do Command Shift C, or you could do Control Shift C in Google Docs, and it will tell you the word characters, the words and the characters. 70 is the max I want to go. Now, you can make a page title as long as you want. Maybe not as long as you want, but you can make it pretty long. It's fine. It just We want to keep it at 60, maybe 70, because what happens when it gets too long is Google cuts it off, and you'll end up seeing, so half a word or an entire half a sentence will get cut off, and it'll just show like ellipses. And but the more words you have in here, the more you're telling Google about what the page is about. And so it can help with ranking to have more keywords in here, but it's just that the person in Google will see it cut off. Let's HCC coding. Let's see if we can find an example. Right there, number one. This is an ad, and this is cut off. You see the ellipsis right there? Well, right there. So this is probably about 60 characters. I'm just gonna, probably outside the scope of this video. That's fine. Command Shift C, 53 characters. Okay. So it jumped down to 53 because the next word was probably brought it over 60. And that's why you want to stay around 60. I'm going to keep it at 70. That's fine because I got the main point in here, all this. But then, I added this other keyword in here. It doesn't matter if that's seen or not. Accurately capture. Okay, so this tells us what the risks are. It's talking about accuracy. Okay. How let's see. Let's see. Actually, let's do this. Let's go to let's sell it. No, let's go to the page that sells it on their website. Okay. How AI reduces the mistakes of error-prone human medical coders. That's a word. That's a mouthful. How AI reduces the mistakes of human medical coders and how to use it. How about how to use AI to reduce mistakes of human medical coders? Always use the active voice. Maximize value, organizational value, improve care, and reduce costs. Oh, that's what I was looking for. Looks like so scalability is something. So maybe I'll add and scale in there. See, people always think page titles and meta descriptions are easy to do, but as you can see, I'm 37 minutes in and I've only just done the page title and meta description. I am explaining things, so that does take time too. And I would have cut through a lot of things if I didn't have an audience watching me. I would have probably come to this a lot faster, not double checked and verified things. How to use AI to reduce mistakes of human medical coders, maximize organizational value, improve care, reduce costs, and scale. All right. Let's see. Just for kicks and giggles, 131 characters. You want to stay around 160. So I actually have more I could do, but that's probably good for now. Let's see how many. Now, if I'm going to update this page, I'm going to see how many times each of these is on the page. Not counting these. So, okay. Risk adjustment coding is probably good. I could. You do want the keyword closer to the front. That's probably old school, but I think it still works. Risk adjustment coding, managing the risks. Let's say of error. There we go. We can see that's an H1. Okay, we want that. Can't do anything about this. That's a coding theme issue that the coders are going to take care of. So it's only mentioned once, so I'm going to focus on this. Risk adjustment accuracy. Actually, before I do that, I'm just going to go through here and format this better. Oh, I could just do that. Okay. So bullet points are great. You want to turn long paragraphs into bullets. That's a great idea. One thing though, to improve crawlability and skimmability is there's this writing tempo you want to use idea where you want to use a 1-3-1 tempo, and that's essentially something very quick, and then the 3 is more meaty, and then the 1 is something very quick. Bullet points really help do that. So one sentence, this is 2, but let's say that's the 3 sentences, and then the next one's going to be 1. The idea is that 1 is simple, 3 is the meat. So 3 sentences, 4 sentences, something like that. What I'm going to do here, a few of the leading factors, I'm actually going to take all of these and turn them into bullets again. Multi-step processes. All right. Now I'm going to turn each of these bullets down here into their own paragraphs. So here's why. So if the closer you have a bullet to a heading, the more likely you are, according to studies, to get a rich snippet. A rich snippet is something like this. People also ask. You'll see videos. That's a rich snippet. This is a rich snippet. It's anything that's not the typical. Let me turn this off. It's anything that's not the typical link, page title, and description. Even these are considered rich snippets. So I guess it's more anything that isn't this. With shopping, you'll see a bunch of what I call those cards up here, scrollable cards. So yeah, want to look into rich snippets more? You can Google it. You'll see it. This is a rich snippet because it's not a typical this. It showed not a typical page title and description. It shows an actual snippet from the website with an answer to what it thinks will directly answer this question. Okay. So to get those, ideally you'd want this closer to the heading. That's fine. We're going to leave it here. A few of the leading factors that cause, let's say, risk adjustment inaccuracies. And the reason I'm saying this is because it's closer to accuracy. We have these two keywords that are close to each other. It probably won't make a difference, but it might. You never know. Okay, so now every one of these bullet points is going to have its own paragraph. So I'm going to turn this into a heading. Let's go H3. It's H3 because it's a subcategory of this H2. Some SEOs, and even I do this sometimes, they'll make this an H2 also. Totally fine. That's up to you. The theory is that once you get past an H2, none of the headings have any importance. It's like H3 down to H6, pretty much useless. A lot of people say H2s are useless too. But I stop at H2 when considering whether or not it's okay. So I think everything's impactful to some degree, but when it comes to the 80-20 rule of doing the most, like getting the biggest bang for your buck, doing the littlest amount of work to get the biggest result, 80-20, Pareto principle, you pretty much stop at H2s. So anything under that is going to have nominal or no effect. Format. Okay. So again, I made each one of these bullet points its own paragraph, and then I used this from the bullets to let the reader know and the robot, the search engine, know that this paragraph is about that thing. And this paragraph is about that thing. That's 3. The hotkey to make these an H2 or an H3 on a Mac, which I have, is Command Option 3, and that will turn into an H3, Command Option 2 for H2, Command Option 1 for H1. Otherwise, you got to do it manually like I just did previously. If you know a hotkey for changing capitalization, please let me know. This is an H2. Okay. Great. It's on the page and there at least once it's in an H2. So I'm going to say H2. Accurate risk adjustment. Oops. You got to be careful. When you're going to make a change, you have to be in suggesting. If you're going to deliver this to a client. I'm delivering this to a client to potentially look at so they can review, or just to prove the work that I did. And if that's not you, you don't have to worry about that. So accurate risk adjustment coding, the consequences of HTC coding errors. You could probably make something a little more clever, but we're moving on. You can take your time on that. This is from SEMrush. And I'll probably put that under the heading I just edited. Maybe not. So I'm going to do the same thing here, the same formatting technique here. When you say a few of or something that's not as specific, like if you don't say 3, 4, 5, 6, you don't state a number, use a bulleted list. If it's not a bulleted list, or if it's not specific, then use, I'm sorry, I just confused myself. If it is specific, use a numbered list. If it's not specific, use a bulleted list. Okay, I took a few minutes and formatted that, so you didn't have to see me do it again. Simple enough. Okay, so all these are on the page at least once. These are just my notes. You don't even have to put these here. I did that for me just to remember where I put them. Okay. And that is how we update a page. You can always go through here and actually write more content as well. That is something I don't think you need to have me, don't need to watch me do. Maybe I'll create a different video on that. This was just how to update a page in the simplest way possible for keywords, and especially on a page that isn't a straightforward keyword research project. So you can expect to take up to an hour or more if you're really putting a lot of effort into this and updating something, adding more information, rewording paragraphs are excellent. Those are great ways to keep people on the page, rank better, provide more value. Yeah. Let's see. Like even right here, I see stats. I'm going to separate that out. Okay. All right. I hope that was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions.